It's almost upon us. It's the Champions League knockout stages for the round of 16 part of the competition. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today's video is going to centre around this right here. The Champions League. It resumes once again tonight, kicking off the round of 16 stage of the competition. The format has obviously changed this year. The league phase is done and dusted. The playoff places were played out a few weeks ago, and now it is time for the round of 16 stage to begin, with all 16 teams remaining in this competition ready to battle it out for a place in the quarterfinals. These games will be played over two exciting and mouth-watering encounters, two legs. It is back to a familiar format, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the games and, of course, giving my predictions on how I think each and every single game will turn out. Before we get into all of that, though, we'd like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And, of course, I encourage you all to get involved in the conversation by using your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, down below in the comment section, because I would love to hear from you all. I'm sure what you have to say will make for great and interesting reading, so please do get involved down below. And without further ado, let's get on with the video. Let's talk the Champions League round of 16, and we're going to be kicking things off with tonight's game between Club Brugge and Aston Villa. I would love nothing more than for an English team like Aston Villa to get through. I have a bit of a soft spot for them. I like what Unai Emery is doing. I think they are and have been a brilliant team throughout not just this competition, but throughout Emery's duration as manager and head coach of Aston Villa during his time there, whether it be domestically or in this competition this year. I think Villa have been brilliant. Club Brugge, no pushovers. This should be a very interesting game, one that may go a little bit under the radar because of other games that are going off, but they are kicking off at 5:45 tonight, the only game that is kicking off at 5:45, so this has a free run at being put under the microscope a little bit, given the timing of this game. Club Brugge, of course, got to this part of the competition by beating Atalanta, and that's no easy feat, so this is going to be a very difficult task for Aston Villa and Unai Emery. But the one thing I will say that may go in Villa's favour is the fact that Emery is no stranger to knockout competition, especially not in Europe anyway. He knows how to get the job done in Europe. I think over the course of two legs, Villa will get the job done and they'll make it into the quarterfinals, where they'll meet either one of Liverpool or PSG. We'll get onto that game a little later. But I think Emery's team will do it. That's not to say that Club Brugge will definitely fall out of this competition. They are, of course, a difficult side to beat. They've got a very interesting side as well to look out for. I just think Villa, with the squad they have, with the manager that they have, I think will get the job done. So I'm going with Aston Villa. I think if they can definitely get a good result in the first leg away from home, they can take it back to Villa Park and they can get the job done there. So I'm going with Villa to win this one. Next up, Dortmund against Lille. I'm going with Lille to win. I think that Lille have been fantastic in this not just this competition, but even domestically this season. I think they've done very, very well this campaign. I don't think they're going to be pushovers by any stretch of the imagination. I think if you were to look at these two sides on paper, you probably would lean towards the more tried and tested form of Borussia Dortmund. But, like I say, Lille, no pushovers, done very well this season so far in this competition and domestically. And I think this one could be throw a little bit of a surprise in the mix. So I'm going with Lille to win. I think, again, I think it's a case of they'll get a draw in the first leg, take it back to Lille, and then they will get the job done there. So I'm going to go with the away side for the first leg on this. I'm going to go with Lille to make it to the final 8. But not entirely confident. We obviously know that Dortmund, the history of this competition, will likely get through. But Dortmund haven't exactly been that convincing this season. So it's going to be a very interesting one, to say the least. And of course, the winner of this game will go on to meet one of Barcelona or Benfica. Moving on to PSV versus Arsenal. Now, on paper, this should be a game that Arsenal win. This also is seemingly what Arsenal's rest of the season is resting on. This Champions League is their seemingly last hope of any sort of silverware, barring any major collapse from Liverpool in the Premier League. This is the last resort for Arsenal this season. And they come up against the PSV side, who are going to be very difficult to break down, particularly in the first leg. Now, a lot of people would probably expect Arsenal to win, but the problem with Arsenal in recent games has been their lack of goals. They are finding it difficult in front of goal to find any sort of consistency or ice-cold killer instinct in front of goal. And that's a worry. That is a worry. If they can't find a solution to that problem ASAP, that's their season pretty much done and dusted. Because PSV are no pushovers either. Like, no one is in this competition. But PSV are not either. And especially with PSV being at home. If PSV were to get a very good result at home, in a very hostile environment, it could play on the minds of an Arsenal side that are seemingly low on confidence as it is, because of how the past few results in all competitions have been for them, how they've lacked a goal-scoring threat up front. This could be a big opportunity for PSV to smell blood here. Like, Arsenal should be winning this one. There's no doubt about it. But, given the way that Arsenal have been in recent games, if PSV don't fancy their chance against this Arsenal side, then they've already lost. I'm going with PSV to go through. I did originally say Arsenal, but since the lack of goal-scoring threat has become majorly apparent, I'm going to go with PSV. I really, really am here. I think there could be a big shock on the cards. I just think that if PSV, especially if they get a good result at home, if they get like a 1 or 2 goal lead at home, I think it could be very difficult for Arsenal to come back from that. Because yes, they could get the odd goal, but if they're throwing plenty of men forward, PSV could go on and catch Arsenal cold on the counter or something along those lines. Arsenal's best weapon is their set pieces. If PSV can deal with that, I believe they are halfway through already. I really, really do. And maybe that's being a bit disingenuous to Arsenal, but I think the longer the game goes on without Arsenal looking threatening or even scoring a goal just in general, I think the more that those nerves could play on the minds of those Arsenal players, and PSV could grow from strength to strength. I really, really do. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. I think Arsenal probably will go through, but I just fancy a bit of an upset. I just fancy a bit of an upset in this one. So I'm going to go PSV, but I'm not holding out too much on that prediction actually coming to fruition. Next up, the Madrid derby, Real versus Atletico. I'm going with Real Madrid to go through because it's just the Real Madrid competition. It's just the Real Madrid way. But you know what? Atletico really could get one over on their neighbours in this. They really, really could, especially with the second leg being played at the Wanda. Atletico are a more complete team this year than I've ever seen them. Going forward, they look strong. Defensively, we all know the notoriety of a solid and well-disciplined Atletico Madrid squad. But going forward, they look better than they've done in a long, long time. And you know what? They really could spring a surprise on Real here. Real haven't been massively convincing all season in terms of both Champions League and domestically. They had to qualify through the playoffs against Manchester City, of course. We all know those games very well. But there are signs that maybe things are starting to get the wheels in motion for a well-oiled machine again at Real Madrid. And we all know that this is typically the part of the season where they normally do become that well-oiled machine. They normally do start to shift through the gears, and they normally do tend to reach full capacity, shall we say, in these types of environments and atmospheres. And of course, this probably will be no different. Like I say, they are my pick to maybe go through, but it ain't gonna be easy. It's not gonna be a foregone conclusion. I do think that Atletico's more well-rounded approach this season could be very difficult for Real to contend with, and I think it's purely going to be based on star power alone that Madrid, Real that is, go through to the final 8. The likes of Vini Jr., Kylian Mbappe, just to name a couple, of course, I think will step up, shine, and of course get the job done. But again, if Atletico are to be strong on this, and Atletico are to maybe get a very good result against Real Madrid. I know the away goals rule isn't a thing anymore, which is kind of a shame in this kind of instance, because I do kind of feel that if Atletico were to go and get a good draw in this, a 1-1 or a 2-2, they hold on for dear life at home and they get the job done. But like I say, away goal rule, not a thing anymore. It's going to be interesting to see how this one goes. And yeah, as much as I do want Atletico to go on and win this game and knock out Real Madrid, because it would stop any sort of resurrection of Real Madrid this season in this environment, in this competition, which is just what seems to happen year upon year. I just think Real will have too much about them individually to get the job done. So I'm going Real Madrid to win, Don Carlo to once again make it to another quarter-final of the top-tier competition in European football. Moving on to Wednesday's games, we've got Feyenoord versus Inter. I think Inter will win this one. I think this is one of the more favourable games to call this round of 16 stage. I think Inter's defensive record is insanely good, and I think they'll have enough about them in the final third to put Feyenoord away. I think this is one of the more easier games to call, with all due respect to Feyenoord. Nothing's ever a foregone conclusion, especially not in the Champions League. But I just think that Inter are probably strong favourites and contenders to actually go on and win the competition this year. Bayern Munich versus Leverkusen in an all-German affair. I'm going Leverkusen to win. I think what's happening in the Bundesliga right now, I know that obviously Xabi Alonso's men aren't exactly the same that they were last season, and I know that Bayern Munich are on fire with Harry Kane, going from strength to strength. But there is just something about that may give an extra bit of incentive to Bayer Leverkusen. Maybe, again, that's more hope than anything else. But I just think Leverkusen will get the job done. I think they can be very difficult for Bayern Munich. I think if they get... Again, it does rely on obviously playing away from home, as is the common thread with all these games. But if they can get a very good result away from home, taking it back to Leverkusen, I think, will be a difficult task, even for Bayern Munich, despite the fact that they've got so many good players, so many good individuals in that team. I'm backing Leverkusen to go on and make it to the quarterfinals. I think they will knock out Bayern Munich, and I think that Xabi Alonso's men will, like I say, have the extra incentive, given the fact that they are 8 points behind them in the Champions League. It could have a knock-on effect, of course. We know that these things have a mentality and momentum effect in these kind of environments. So Xabi Alonso's men will probably have that extra incentive to go on and knock out Bayern Munich, which I think could tip the scales in Leverkusen's favour. We then got Benfica against Barcelona, a massive game for both of these sides, and if their game in the league phase draw of the competition is anything to go by, we could be in for a goals galore type of game. Again, given Barcelona's route to the final and the half of the draw that they are in, they would definitely be fancying their chances of making it to the final this year for the first time in a very, very long time. we could certainly get a El Clasico Champions League final, which I don't believe has ever been done before. So we could get that. We could also get Barcelona taking on maybe like a Liverpool or someone else like that. So it could be a very interesting Champions League route for Barcelona. They have to obviously beat what's in front of them, though. They can't be taking their eye off the ball or anything for granted. They're scoring plenty of goals under Hansi Flick. But of course, they've not exactly had it all their own way. There was a bit of a dip in part of the season, especially domestically, that they suffered with. But this is a competition in which attacks win you games, and definitely they can get past Benfica here. They'll meet one of Lille or Dortmund in the next round of the competition, and then who knows from there on the other side of the draw, so to speak. So I'm going with Barcelona because I think their attack is superior, and I think they will have enough about them to beat Benfica yet again. But like I say, I'm anticipating an exciting and intriguing game here, especially if their league phase game was anything to go by from that point onwards. So yeah, very much looking forward to Barcelona. Looking forward to seeing how they progress. Benfica, we all know that they've got a very good squad. We all know that they have got some very good youngsters and some very, very good players within their ranks. But unfortunately, I just don't see them having enough firepower to outscore Barcelona or even defensively to maybe neutralise them either. So I'm going with Barcelona in this one. And finally, in the final game, PSG versus Liverpool. Typically, Liverpool top the group and then arguably get one of the more difficult games of this round of 16 stage. Look, PSG are on fire right now. They are absolutely on fire. They've gone a different approach this season, of course. Well, past couple of seasons under Luis Enrique, who was a fantastic coach and manager. They have stopped with the superstar approach and they've gone with players that actually fit a system, fit an ideology, fit a philosophy, and fair play to them. I'm hoping that this is just a case of PSG being on form domestically because it's PSG and the French league is one of the least competitive leagues in the world, in my personal opinion. No disrespect, but there's a reason why PSG pretty much win it every year, and there's a reason why there's not a great deal of interest in that competition. I hope that comment is not going to come back to bite me, but it is genuinely the truth. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. To hell with it. But at the same time, like, I'm hoping that this is another case of PSG will flop in a Champions League atmosphere, of course, because obviously Liverpool fan wanting Liverpool to break through. Liverpool should be favourites for this. There's no doubt about it, given our squad, given the players that we have at our disposal and everything. But that's not to say that this is a foregone conclusion. We know the difficult task that lies ahead of us. We know that PSG have got their own players that are going to cause chaos. And we know that PSG are a very, very good side with an extremely good manager. So this is going to be an extremely difficult game for us. It's one that I'm hoping Liverpool get through. I think if we tackle this game like we did against the likes of Real Madrid and Manchester City, just allow PSG to have the ball in the first leg and then hit them on the counter-attack, take our chances, we'll get a good result, we'll leave Paris with an extremely good result, and I have no doubt that we can do the business and see the game out from the first whistle blowing when we take it back to Anfield. There's no doubt in my mind if that scenario is to play out. We know that obviously they've got the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, who absolutely terrifies me going up against Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, a couple of weeks ago I saw Jeremy Doku absolutely have Trent Alexander-Arnold on toast, but have no end product. This time around, Kvaratskhelia is, in my opinion, a better player than Jeremy Doku, and he also has more of an end product. So That battle absolutely terrifies me, and I'd be shocked if Arne Slot doesn't have a plan in preparation for Kvaratskhelia going up against Trent Alexander-Arnold, especially because it will be a complete throwback to the game that pretty much announced Kvaratskhelia on the world and on the European and world stage, which was Liverpool versus Napoli several years ago. I'm hoping Liverpool can get the job done. I'm going to back Liverpool to get the job done. I think we will take a 1-1 or something in Paris, and we will get the job done at Anfield to progress to the final 8. But it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a foregone conclusion by any stretch of the imagination. I'm hoping, of course, PSG flop again in a knockout stage of a Champions League. But I think this is a more well-rounded PSG than what we have seen in previous years. I give so much respect to what Luis Enrique's done with that squad. I give respect to the way that they've gone about changing their philosophy and their business strategy. But I just hope that they flop on Wednesday. I hope they flop on Wednesday, and I hope they flop next week. And I hope they do not knock Liverpool out of this competition. So fingers crossed on that score that Liverpool get the job done. And there you have it. Those are your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you call it, of this guy for the Champions League round of 16 stage. Let me know what you guys think and feel about all of that and much more, of course, down below in the comments section. Give me your thoughts, comments, opinions, feelings, but most of all, of course, I want to know your predictions on who you think makes it into the quarter-final stages for the Champions League. Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling down there. Talk to me on this, people. I'm sure what I have to say will make for great and interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Thank you all for your either brand new or continued support to the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. It will always be greatly appreciated and never be taken for granted. So thank you all so much for that. You guys are absolutely awesome. I can't thank you enough for your support. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will soon speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers guys, thanks everyone for watching. Take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll speak to you all again very, very soon.